Good evening and welcome back to my channel. So I have quite an exciting video today to film. I'm going to be practicing decorating my birthday cake. I've already actually done the baking part, but now it comes to the fun bit, which is decorating. I have done this quite a few times in the past for other people's birthdays, like family and friends, and I always find it super stressful and it never quite turns out how I want it. It's such a trust the process moment with these sort of things. So I have done quite a bit of research and I'm going to really try create a professional looking birthday cake, one similar to what I'll pop on screen now. Yeah, I'm just excited to see what I can create. So let's start the video and fingers crossed we're not crying by the end of it.
So first step is to get my cakes out the freezer. I put them in the freezer after finished baking them last night. I've never actually froze cakes before, so this was a little bit unnerving for me, but I just trusted it and actually the cake turned out delicious. Because the cakes are now frozen, I'm able to be a bit more heavy-handed and cut the tops off the cake so they're all really flat and square-edged. For this next step, it is super important to now put a simple syrup over your sponge. This is going to soak into your sponge. It's just a 1-to-1 ratio of water and sugar, and it allows the cake to stay moist. Because I'm having a lemon and white chocolate cake, I have just used lemon juice and sugar and it worked just as well. Okay, so next up, homemade buttercream. This tastes delicious and it is just a 2-to-1 ratio of icing sugar to butter. Super easy, and you're going to be using this for your filling so it doesn't need a colour. As you can see, I got really impatient with the piping tool, so I decided to go freehand, and luckily this bit doesn't need to be perfect because it is actually going to be hidden, it's just the filling. But now I'm going to pipe a border around the edge of the cake. This is so that my filling I decide to put in the middle isn't going to fall either side. Obviously, with mine being a lemon cake, I decided to use lemon curd. I just want to say at this point as well, because my cakes are still cold, I thought it would be okay to go straight on with the buttercream, but as you can see, it wasn't working for me and my cake was slipping a little bit, so I decided to stop what I was doing and put the cake back in the freezer. Whilst I'm waiting for my cake to set, I decided it was a good idea to not just stop what I was doing and separate my buttercream into 3 different bowls, ready to colour them for the decorating. I'm going to be using red, this one's for the cherries. I also will be colouring one green and one pink. A little tip about getting a deep colour that you're after with food colouring and butter icing is to use a handheld blender. Just blitz your buttercream with the food colouring and it brings out all the pigment in the colour, and it also creates a really nice texture with your buttercream as well. For this part, please just ignore how rough I was piping onto this. This tool was super difficult to use, but this is just the crumb coat, so it doesn't have to be neat and tidy. It is purely to pick up any crumbs that might go into the final coat. Okay, so once I'm finished trying to perfect this gorgeous looking cake, I'm going to put this away in the freezer ready for it to set so I can work on my next layer of icing. So this icing has actually been worked with a food blender, and as you can see, it's really soft and smooth looking, but this is going to go on my cake. I do 2 layers of this and I'm super annoyed that I actually forgot to film the first layer. I went to click record and it obviously didn't fully click and I didn't notice. So here is me trying to perfect the first layer of icing. Again, if any of the icing underneath comes through, that's not an issue because we are going over with another coat of this colour. So we're now going on with the final layer, and the cake has actually been in the freezer again, so the 2 layers aren't going to combine. This one you will want to make the most perfect smooth finish to the cake because this is what we're going to then be decorating on top of. And I would say that I actually took most time on this step because, I mean, I'm not a professional and I wanted the most perfect finish to the cake that I could get. I will obviously just speed up this process and cut most of it out because honestly, Honestly, this bit probably took me a good 45 minutes. Once I was finished and happy with the smoothness of my cake, I then decided I was going to go around with the B6 nozzle and just outline the heart shape of the cake. I was meant to do this at the bottom of the cake as well, but because I was running out of pink icing, I decided I didn't have enough. And because it is quite a small cake, this is just an individual size, I wasn't too bothered. But we're now onto our cherry decoration. So it's super easy to create these. I used the thinnest nozzle that I could find, and you just want to create the stalks first. If I was to redo this cake, I'm going to actually pinpoint where I want to do these and not just do them willy-nilly all over the cake. I just think it will give a better finish and look. Now we're adding the cherries. So this was probably one of the most fun bits. It's super easy to do and it does create a really good effect on the cake because you're just finishing the cake up now. I also used the same nozzle with the same colour to write a 26 on the top of the cake, but you can write whatever you want. And yeah, I was super impressed with the finished result. These cherries as well are actually just false ones from Amazon that I picked up.